In a palace of silence and secrets, where ink flows deeper than blood, a veiled girl writes her fate beneath falling petals. Welcome to the Velvet Story, where forgotten whispers and forbidden letters become vivid tales. This is Maiden of the Pavilion. A story of ink and inheritance, veils and vengeance, and a love that dares to bloom in the shadows. Close your eyes, and listen carefully. The Pavilion remembers everything. Chapter 7, The Lotus Bloomed Twice. From the story, Whispers from the Hollow Pavilion. In this chapter, secrets bloom like petals in moonlight. Aryu Lan reads the diary left by her mother. Kayan plays a dangerous game with Minister Jian. And a new figure enters, poised, perfumed, and deadly. The diary was bound in faded lilac silk, delicate embroidery tracing a broken plum branch. Aryu Lan sat alone at the center of the hollow pavilion. No scrolls today, only the book, and silence. The first page was blank. But the second began with poetry. In the moon's second waning, I birthed a child without a cry. No tears, no gasps, only stillness. She looked like her father, and nothing like the man who ruled us. The ninth concubine's diary. The entries were sparse. Some were only a line. Others, entire pages of aching confession. She had once loved a southern envoy. A man of music and rain-washed letters. They met by accident. And that accident became Aryu Lan. The emperor never knew, or pretended not to, but the empress did. I gave her a comb of jade for her wedding. She returned it months later, shattered, with a single line tied to it, wolves do not comb their prey. Aryu Lan read on. I hid my daughter behind veils and ink and old names. Not to shame her, to save her, from what they would make her become. Aryu Lan closed the book. And cried for the mother she never remembered, but who had remembered everything. Meanwhile, in a different wing of the palace, Kayan stood in the moonlight court, facing Minister Jian. Tea was served, not touched. You've been to the hollow pavilion often, Jian said. More than any diplomat would require. Kayan smiled, ever so slightly. Perhaps I enjoy their ink techniques. Jian's eyes sharpened. You are looking for the white letter. Kayan's face did not change. What a dangerous accusation to make over tea. Jian leaned closer. She's not who she appears to be. I don't mean mute. I mean inconvenient. Kayan's voice was gentle, but firm. Then perhaps you should ask why the pavilion was ever locked in the first place. A pause. Jian stood. You're clever, envoy. But I was born here, and clever birds are the first to lose their wings. That night, Kayan returned to the pavilion. He found Aryu Lan at the edge of the balcony, diary clutched to her chest. They didn't speak. She held up a page for him to read. My daughter will bloom twice. Once in hiding, once in flame. He looked at her. Which bloom is this? She whispered. The one before I catch fire. Elsewhere, a new threat arrives. A new figure arrived at the outer gates of the court. She wore silk the color of dried blood, hair coiled with gold feathers, and eyes lined in smoke. Lady Fayum, the empress's personal whisperer. She did not knock. She did not smile. She handed a sealed letter to the guard. Deliver this to the pavilion. And tell the veiled one. Her mother's mirror reflects more than memory. End of Chapter 7. Chapter 8, Reflections in a Cracked Mirror. From the story, Whispers from the Hollow Pavilion. Some mirrors show your face. Others show your future. But the most dangerous ones? They show the truth you swore you forgot. The mirror had sat in the drawer for years, untouched, unnoticed. Now it lay open beneath the moonlight, soft silver cracked like dried riverbeds. Aryu Lan stared at it. It did not show her veil. It did not show her room. It showed a room she had never stepped into, but had once been born in. The reflection shows a red curtain, a painted cradle, and a woman's hand, slender and trembling, holding a jade comb. Aryu Lan blinked. The hand moved. Don't name her. Don't speak it aloud. Let the veil be her womb. The voice in the mirror was faint but familiar. Her mother. The image shimmered, rippled, and faded, leaving only Aryu Lan's own wide eyes staring back, brimming with salt. The mirror wasn't cursed. It was a memory vessel. The pavilion didn't just store scrolls. It stored the forbidden truths of women who could not write their own names. Elsewhere, the messenger bird. Cain received a message tied to a nightjar's leg, written in powdered plum ink. The feathers circle you now. The Empress watches. Trust no one but the girl with hair like dusk. He burned the paper without flinching. Fayum, he murmured. At the imperial court, Lady Fayum now sat across from Minister Jian. The air between them was scented with crushed magnolia and venom. You let the girl flower, she whispered, sipping wine. How careless, Jian growled. She's only a librarian. Fayum laughed, long and low. Librarians read the past, but she remembers it. And what will you do? He asked. Poison her tea? Oh, dear minister, she smiled. Some flowers are killed not with poison, but with light. Back in the pavilion, R.U. Lan received a bundle wrapped in black silk. No name, no seal. Inside, a single hairpin shaped like a raven's wing. And a note. Your voice was never missing. It was stolen. Cain returned by midnight. He found her sitting cross-legged. Mirror before her, and the letter in her lap. It's starting, isn't it? She asked, voice trembling. He nodded. You are the match. And this pavilion, this kingdom, is paper. R.U. Lan stood. Then let it burn beautifully. And for the first time since their first meeting, she touched his hand. Gently, like petals falling onto flame. And he did not pull away. End of chapter 8. Chapter 9, The Girl with Hair Like Dusk. From the story, Whispers from the Hollow Pavilion. When a secret finally walks among those who buried it, silence becomes a weapon. And beauty, the kind that cannot be tamed, becomes a revolution. It began not with bells, but with footsteps, soft, measured, certain. R.U. Lan walked the long garden corridor from the hollow pavilion to the inner court, unveiled. Her hair was no longer bound. It spilled like shadowed silk down her back. The attendants paused. The guards looked away. Even the wind seemed to hush. For 13 years, the court whispered about the silent girl. Now, she passed them all, eyes forward, face open. Not bold, not afraid, simply seen. The inner court. Lady Fayum sipped persimmon wine beneath the jade roof, her gold-feathered hairpin glinting in the sun. She turned, amused, as the girl entered. Ah, she said softly. The ghost wears flesh. R.U. Lan didn't flinch. She met the lady's eyes. Fayum rose slowly, every movement choreographed like a predator in silk. Tell me, child, did your mother teach you how to kneel? No, R.U. Lan replied, voice smooth. But she taught me how not to. Flashback, the whisper stone. The night before, Cain had handed her a seashell, hollow, pink, whispering faintly. We use them in my homeland, he said. For memory, for courage. R.U. Lan held it against her heart. Then I'll carry it to the court. If they can bring lies, I can bring memory. Back in the courtroom, Minister Jian appeared from behind a silken screen. His eyes narrowed the moment he saw her. You are not summoned. Then I must be unexpected, R.U. Lan said softly. A few advisors shifted in their seats. A breeze entered through the window. And something invisible began to crack. R.U. Lan unveils a page. From her sleeve, she pulled a parchment, the first fragment of the white letter. It bore her mother's handwriting. It named names. It told of false charges against the 9th concubine. It hinted at the Empress's silent approval. Fayum's eyes narrowed. You are not clever, she said. You are doomed. R.U. Lan's lips curved into something delicate. Almost kind. Then let me be doomed beautifully. Cain, watching from the balcony. Cain watched from above, hidden behind a paper screen. His heart did not race. It ached. This was no longer a slow romance, or a court game. This was war, fought with wails, letters, mirrors, and the single flame of a girl's remembered name. That night, the pavilion was not quiet. For the first time, the curtains had been removed. Scrolls had been reorganized, the names of erased women moved to the front. R.U. Lan sat beneath the moonlight. Cain joined her in silence, then offered her a folded cloth. Armor, he said. Inside, a robe the color of ink and moon milk. Her mother's old court attire, altered to fit. She did not speak, but she took his hand. And for a long moment, they sat together. Two souls in silence, but never voiceless again. End of chapter 9. Some voices were never lost, only stolen. If you felt the petals fall with Lan, if the secrets stirred beneath your skin, then stay with us. The pavilion is far from silent. Subscribe to the Velvet Story for more chapters of Maiden of the Pavilion, where every scroll carries a scar, and every mirror reflects more than memory. Until the next whisper, keep listening.